the MMA podcast. And now, coming to the mic, your host, Jalen Walker.
Welcome to Pound for Pound, the MMA podcast. I'm your host, as always, Jalen Walker. If you're listening to the podcast via Spotify, Apple Music, or any other streaming platforms, please make sure to check us out on YouTube and click that subscribe button. Much appreciated. After 2 weeks off, the Octagon opens back up for UFC Vegas 34, Cannonier versus Kelvin Gastelum. It's a brawl at middleweight with heavy resumes from both sides. This will be a slugfest, so get excited. This fight card will also see appearances from Parker Porter, Mark Madsen, and the legend known as Guida. Also, this week has been packed with lots of fight announcements and heated social media trash talk. We'll break it all down and much, much more. But first, a words from our sponsors at Manscaped. Attention listeners across the galaxy, all the way from Australia to Houston. Do we have a pube problem? If so, our friends at Manscaped have cleared you for takeoff with their 4th generation and brand new Lawnmower 4.0. Kick your pubes to the next planet with the Performance Package 4.0. This orbit in your pants will feel like you're in 0-degree gravity when you use the best tools for the job from the leaders in male grooming. Join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get your rocket ready for takeoff by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with code POUND4POUND. Ready for an out-of-the-world experience, fellas? Look no further than the Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped that has just taken off not only in the US, but Canada, UK, Europe, Australia, South Africa, and Singapore. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your whole solar system. First schedule for liftoff, new Lawnmower 4.0. This spaceship is here to guide you on your journey to trim your body, balls, butt, and even Uranus. This 4th generation trimmer also features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 has a 7,000 RPM motor and new multi-functioning on and off switch that can engage a travel lock, and this is even waterproof. The Lawnmower 4.0 also has a 4000K LED spotlight you can turn on and off when needed for a more precise shave throughout your travels across the universe. The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker. It's like having a little astronaut to chop your worst weeds up top in your nose and ear. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and uses a 9,000 RPM motor powered by a 360-degree rotary dual blade system. Don't forget to use Crop Preserver ball deodorant and their Crop Reviver toner. Remember, you can get all this with 20% off plus free shipping using code POUND4POUND at manscaped.com, or go to manscaped.com/pound4pound to have the coupon automatically applied to your checkout. Appreciate you, Manscaped. Thank you very much. All right, guys. Real quick before I get into the fight card and stuff, I want to get into some of these announcements and recap from last week. UFC, or 2 weeks ago, UFC 265, Song Yadong won via decision against Casey Kennedy. It took Song Yadong to 17-5-1. Also, one no contest on his record. Tashia Torres, she won via decision also against Angela Hill. That pushed her to 13-5. That put Angela Hill to 13-10. She now has double-digit losses in the UFC. Michael Chiesa lost to Vincent Luque. Luque is 21-7 now. He won via the submission in the first round. And then, holy crap, man. At the bantamweight division, Jose Aldo wins via decision, taking him to 30 wins and 7 losses. What a career this man has been having. At that age, great to see him come back and defeat someone as good as Pedro Munez. And at the top spot, heavyweight division for the main event, we got Cheryl Gain. Man, He beat Derek Lewis in the third round via TKO, making him 10-0, pushing Derek Lewis to 25-7. What a fight it was. Gain was just a little bit too much for Derek Lewis, unfortunately. Gain is now the interim heavyweight champion. He will face Francis Ngannou, hopefully by the end of this year. But congrats to Gain and all the winners from UFC 265. It was one hell of an event. And best of luck to Derek Lewis. I hope he gets a title shot one day because he deserves it. And it's very unfortunate it was taken away from him. Technically it wasn't taken away from him. He just lost it, but still. It really sucked. I wanted to see him and Ngannou. But it's all good. We'll keep moving on. Fight announcements. All right, here we go. So UFC 268 is looking really, really good. We got the main event, Usman versus Covington 2, and then from the co-main event, we got Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler. Two incredible fights for that night. Also tonight, Manny Pacquiao returns to the ring to fight Ugas. That's on Fox Sports app. I'm not sure if it's pay-per-view or not, but make sure you're checking that out. The legend Pac-Man Pacquiao will be back in the ring tonight. We got for October 2nd, we just got it finalized. Santos versus Walker. Thiago Santos will take on Walker at the light heavyweight division. That's going to kick off October really well. Santos and Walker are both incredible fighters, showmen, so look for a brawl there. Some news coming out. Khabib recently just came out and said that BJ Penn is the second greatest lightweight fighter of all time, which I have to agree with him. And of course, Khabib thinks he's the best lightweight fighter of all time, which people will argue that is true. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting that he respects people from the past, and he wants to make sure BJ Penn is getting the respect that he deserves. This is from Colby Covington about Nick Diaz. He said, Nick Diaz, he's not a fighter anymore. That guy's completely brain dead. He's washed up. He's partied his ass off, and he's done every drug known to man. There's just nothing left there. I know Kobe does this just to get relevant, but he needs to shut up. Because I'm pretty sure Nate Diaz would destroy Colby Covington. If it was a brawl, keeping it on the feet, it's over. Colby Covington likes to talk trash, likes to spit a lot of game, and then just wrestle and keep him on the ground. I don't like that. It's good for his career, I guess, and for getting to where he needs to be. Obviously, it got him to a title spot again, but I'm not that type of fan when it comes to MMA. I'd rather see someone talk shit and then stand right in front of that person and say, let's throw the hands. You know what I mean? That's just where I come from. We also got Dan Hooker versus Nasrat set for UFC 266. It's going to be very interesting. That's going to be a damn good fight, I think. Dan Hooker needs to flip it around after that loss to Michael Chandler. And then, this is from Paige Van Zandt. As we know, she fought in Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship again. And as we all know, she was a sore loser, left immediately, looked upset. But she finally came out and said this: I didn't want to live anymore. That wasn't for me anymore. Like, life wasn't for me anymore. So I was disappointed. It was so hard. And that was after her loss to Rachel Ostovich. But we wish her the best of luck. Hopefully everything can get back on track for her. She's a great fighter and a great athlete, and it would be a huge shame to lose her from any combat sport. So hopefully she gets that turned back around and continues fighting. Also, light heavyweight for Bellator MMA. We got Joao Romero returning to action versus Phil Davis. Joao Romero was just cleared to fight. This is the one thing that Bellator has going for them. Joao Romero can get people in there watching and buying tickets. So kudos to them keeping Joao Romero relevant, and the UFC didn't want to. But excited for him. We also got Daniel Rodriguez versus Kevin Lee in the works. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, I have this to say. Khabib recently came out and was talking about like Cerrone and some people. And Connor stepped in and tweeted this. This guy's still talking. Another press conference. You shit your pants off Cerrone your whole career. You pulled 3 times from him. You Your father, God rest his soul, could not believe his eyes the way I could beat Cerrone. You disrespect Cerrone, and now Aldo too. You ran away. Shut up. Could this be the beginning of beef between Conor and Khabib to get Khabib back? I personally don't know. I don't think anybody knows. I personally don't think Khabib will ever come back. I think he's done. 29-0, retired on top. Will stay on top. I think that's his best option at this point. But it's just interesting. Just a little bit of updates for everything that's going on so far right now. But in the present, here now, let's break this down. We got UFC Vegas 34 opening up the main event is Alexander Pantonia versus Brandon Royval at the flyweight division. Alexander is coming off a unanimous decision victory against Mabel Kape back in February of this year. That was a much needed victory after dropping the previous battle by decision. His fighting resume shows that he has an 8 wins by knockout, 8 by submission, and 7 by decision. So far, he has shown that he can win in any form necessary to get the job done. Pantonia is now 7-3 in the UFC and has since lost to Dustin Ortiz back in 2018. The Brazilian has only lost to Davison Figueiredo, Askervich, which is very respectable, and even has a win over the current champ, Brandon Moreno, back in 2018. Brandon Royval, aka Raw Dog, 12-5. Royval is returning to action after a first-round TKO loss to Brandon Moreno back in November of last year. This loss snapped his previous 4-fight winning streak dating back to late 2019. His fighting resume shows that he has 3 wins by knockout, 8 by submission, and 1 by decision. He has shown that he is great on the ground and can strike competitively. After winning the Vacate Legacy Fighting Alliance by submitting Nate Williams, he stepped up to the UFC to take on Tim Elliott, Kai Kara France, and he simply continued where he left off and submitted both of them, proving he is more than UFC caliber ready. However, he met his match in Moreno in November, and they put on an exhilarating show before getting TKO'd at the end of the first round. I watched the fight. Amazing fight. It's okay that he lost to Brandon Moreno because Brandon Moreno is the champ. I mean, he has nothing to look down on. He fought the champ before he was a champ and lost to the champ and had a hell of a fight. I would love to see that rematch one day. Both fighters have a similar resume. But Pantonia has had a little bit more experience, of course. Overall, I think Pantoja should be able to outstrike his opponent and get him to the ground and utilize that ground game and get those points. So I'm going to take Pantonia wins via decision. All right, moving on to the next fight. We got Vince Patchell versus Austin Hubbard at the lightweight division. Vince, aka From Hell, is 13-2. He's currently on a 2-fight winning streak heading into this event. His most recent performance was a unanimous decision against Jim Miller back in August of last year. His fighting resume shows that he has 8 wins by knockout and 5 by decision. So far, he has been solid on his feet and has delivered plenty of early stoppages. Vince made his debut in the UFC in 2012 and has only fought 8 times. He lost his debut by getting ragdolled by Rustam Khabiblov, my apologies, and eventually knocked out. He showed his worth responding with an impressive 4-fight win streak, but then ran into another elite wrestler in 2018. Gregor Gillespie dominated him and secured an arm triangle in the second round. He's only fought twice since, but has picked up 2 solid unanimous decisions. Roosevelt Roberts in 2019 and then Jim Miller later that year. Another year later, sorry, not later that year. He's going to be taking on Austin Hubbard, aka Third, at 13-5. Hubbard is coming off a unanimous decision victory against Dakota Bush back in April of this year. This win got him back on track after dropping the previous battle. His fighting resume shows that he has 5 wins by knockout, 2 by submission, and 6 by decision. He has shown that he is good on his feet and on the ground, making him a solid bet to look at here. Austin Hubbard, 13-5, has been far more active, racking up 6 fights since his UFC debut in 2019. He has not been consistent as Patchell, going 3-3. He has lost to top-tier grapplers Davey Ramos, which was a unanimous decision victory, Mark Madsen, unanimous decision victory, and Joe Solek, which is also a submission. His wins have come over Kyle Prepolek, unanimous decision, Max Roskafov, sorry, I forgot his how to pronounce his name, which he retired after, and he's coming off an impressive unanimous decision over Dakota Bush, which took place back in April. Both these fighters have very good chance of winning here. The problem, they are both arguably a great match for one another and could very well go either way, either direction, decision, TKO, submission, we have no idea. But with everything I have here in front of me and everything I've seen and everything I know about these two fighters, I have to pick Vince Patchell, aka From Hell, wins via decision. It's going to be a damn good fight, though. It's going to be a really good fight. All right. I'm going to botch this guy's name. I've been trying all week to get it figured out. So it's a little bit hard. We got Trevor Jones versus Said Yokub Kakramanov. That's at the bantamweight division. We're going to go with SK for now. That's what we're going to use for his name. We got Trevor Jones, 5-star. 13-6, 1-0 contest. Jones is coming off a second-round TKO victory against Mario Batista back in March of this year. This marked the third straight victory for him, and he has not lost a fight since 2018. His fighting resume shows that he has 3 wins by knockout, 4 by submission, and 6 by decision. He has shown that he's able to win in any way needed to get the job done. SK, he's 8-2. SK enters this matchup at the last second, but he is arguably prepared for battle. This opportunity is hard to come by, but he has to show that he is ready for the UFC. He is currently sporting a 2-fight winning streak heading into his Octagon debut. The last performance was a second-round knockout against Tyson Lin back in March of this year. Both fighters present a great opportunity to win. However, this is an argument to be made for fighters changing up opponents at the last minute. SK has a lot to like here, but he is at a disadvantage. Fighters that typically jump on an opportunity to land a UFC battle sometimes struggle to make a good impression. Overall, the experience and quality of fights that Jones has encountered could allow him to win here. I think since SK is coming in this fight late notice, I think I have to take Trevor Jones, and I think he's going to win via decision. I don't think there's going to be any knockouts or submissions. I think he'll win via decision. All right. The fourth fight on this main card, made up of 6 fights. We got Parker Porter versus Chase Sherman at the heavyweight division. Parker Porter 11-6. Porter's coming off a unanimous decision victory against Josh Parisian back in November of last year. This win got him back on track after dropping the previous battle. His fighting resume shows he has 5 wins by knockout, 3 by submission, and 2 by decision. So far, he has shown a balanced resume and can compete against anyone. Parker Porter 11-6 steps out for this third UFC fight and is hoping for a second win. After submitting Kevin Ray Shears and finishing Durali Borenstrup via TKO for CES MMA, he got his chance in the big time. He met fellow debut Chris Daukaus at UFC 252 and was knocked out first round. However, he got his UFC campaign up and running last November with a unanimous decision over Josh Parisian, as mentioned before. He's going to be taking on Chase Sherman, a.k.a. the Vanilla Gorilla, at 15-7. Sherman is returning to the Octagon after a unanimous decision loss to Andrei Arlovski back in April of this year. This loss snapped his previous 4-fight winning streak that spanned back to late 2018. His fighting resume shows that he has 14 wins by knockout and 1 by decision. As you can see, he has been excellent on his feet and usually closes out fights early. Want these lumps lack of technical skill, they certainly make up for knockout ability, and we are very likely to see a finish here. Sherman has the experience and significant 4-inch height and 3-inch reach advantage. Chase Sherman, 15-7, got his resurgent streak snapped by Andrei Arlovski back in April after losing 3 in a row to Shamil, which was a KO, Justin Willis unanimous decision, and Augusto Sakai, which was a TKO. He was then cut. He strung 3 knockouts in a row for a local island fight promotion, also got in 3 bare knuckle fights in 2019. This led to another shot in UFC and kept the run going with a TKO over Villanueva. However, he was outclassed by the season unanimous decision by the legend. Both of these fighters' recent performance were great. Were outstanding. Sherman has been solid with his time at the UFC and has been a fan favorite to win in a handful of fights. I think we're going to see him claim victory here, and I think he's going to get that via TKO. It's going to be an excellent fight, and I think it's going to be worthwhile, and I think Sherman will close it out with that TKO. All right, on to the co-main event of the evening. Clay Guida, the legend, versus Mark Madsen at lightweight division. Clay Guida, the Carpenter, 36-17. He's coming off that unanimous decision victory against Michael Johnson back in February of this year. This win got him back on track after dropping the previous 2 battles. His fighting resume shows that he's 7 wins by knockout, 13 by submission, 15 by decision, and 1 by other. His entire career had showed fans many times when he can cap off the fight early, but can he do it again? The stalwart Clay Guida, 36-20 in his entire professional career, picked up his first win in over 2 years back in February. He earned a unanimous decision over the legend BJ Penn after getting submitted by the current lightweight champ Charles Oliveira. He went up to lose 2 in a row against fellow vets Jim Miller, which was a submission, and Bobby Green, which was a unanimous decision, but picked up his 16th UFC win with another unanimous decision over Michael Johnson. Now, Clay's opponent here, Mark Madsen, aka the Olympian, he's 10-0. Madsen is looking to extend his undefeated 10-fight winning streak with another one here. His most recent performance was a unanimous decision against Austin Hubbard back in March of last year. His fighting resume shows that he has 3 wins by knockout, 3 by submission, and 4 by decision. So far, he has established a balanced resume and can win from any form necessary. Mark Madsen, 10-0, is still undefeated in MMA after winning his first 2 UFC fights. The Olympian Greco-Roman wrestler ventured into MMA in 2013 and steamrolled his first 8 opponents before making his entrance to the UFC. He blitzed out the gate on the debut, throwing Danilo Bellarado to the mat and pounding him out early in the first round. He then followed that up in March last year, earning an unanimous decision over Austin Hubbard. Madsen has great opportunity to win here simply due to the match up on paper. Guida has a lot of experience, but he has a lot of losses also. Guida does not strike the best in his fairly low takedown defense. Against Madsen, this does not shape up well. Madsen delivered 8 takedowns in his last battle when he was greatly outstriked and could do the same here. And for that reason, I have Madsen wins via decision. Nothing against the legend of Clay Guida. I just don't think he's going to be able to take Mark Madsen and stop those takedowns. And I think in that decision, it's going to go all 3 rounds. But man, it's going to be one hell of a fight. Now, for the main event of the evening, we got Jared Cannonier versus Kelvin Gastelum at the middleweight division. Jared Cannonier, a.k.a. the Killer Gorilla, 13-5. The Killer Gorilla is coming off a unanimous decision loss against Robert Whittaker back in October of last year. His most recent performance snapped his previous 3-fight winning streak dating back to late 2018. As we know, if he would have won that fight, he would have been facing Israel Adesanya for the middleweight championship. But unfortunately, he lost to Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker will most likely be facing Adesanya later this year for the championship. Cannonier's fight resume shows he has 9 wins by knockout, 2 by submission, and 2 by decision. As you can see, he's been dominant so far, and he has the ability to close out fights by striking. After slugging it out at heavyweight and light heavyweight, Cannonier finally dropped to a more natural 185 pounds and instantly became a middleweight problem. He TKO'd David Branch in 2018, Anderson Silva in 2019, and Jack Hermanson in 2019, and has set himself up for the number 1 contender fight. However, as we know, he lost that fight, as I just mentioned, and he suffered a broken arm in the first round from that fight. Cannonier only lost to Sean Jordan, Jan Blachowicz, Dominic Reyes, and Whittaker. There are a few middleweights that can beat any of them. The Killer Gorilla is someone not to mess with. And I think Kelvin Gastelum, his opponent here, is going to have a little bit of trouble in this fight. Gastelum is 17-7 with 1 no contest. Gastelum was coming off a unanimous decision lost against Robert Whittaker too, but this was back in April of this year. Looking at his last 5 battles, he has gone 1-4, but it was against some of the best fighters in the division. His fighting resume shows that he has 6 wins by knockout, 4 by submission, and 6 by decision. His resume shows that he can handle any situation to find a way to win. Gastelum's boxing, hand speed, and durability enabled him to become a title contender, and we finally saw his wrestling against Heinich. If he mixes these together, he has a chance, but he can't just rely on boxing, and we know he's a better wrestler than Cannonier, but he needs to prove that, and he needs to have a game plan based around wrestling. He needs to consistently threaten his lightning 1-2 down the pipe as a counter while level changing to secure a takedown. We have seen Gastelum down larger and more powerful opponents, and he has a granite chin. So will he be able to win this fight? This matchup, arguably, closer than odds are showing. However, it's hard to ignore Gastelum's recent struggle against the new fighters in the division. Cannonier has a great opportunity to make his mark in the division once again and to set the tone. A win here can notify the other top fighters. However, Gastelum should be able to find a balance here to make it a decent fight. But I think I have to take Jared here via TKO. I think Jared's just going to be a little bit too much for Kelvin Gastelum, and he's not going to be able to hold on. And I think Jared's going to be able to easily get that TKO. Wonderful fights we got here tonight, guys. Throughout the whole card, even the prelims, we got some up-and-coming names that I'm very excited to see. Luis Saldana, Brian Kelleher again. He's going to be returning. We got William Knight on the card. As we all know, he's from the Contender Series. Great guy, great fighter. But yeah, prelims start on ESPN2 at 7 p.m. These are coming from the UFC Apex Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. And then the main card will be on ESPN starting at 10 p.m. UFC Vegas 34 starting here in just an hour and a half. So make sure you guys tune in and enjoy the fights. And as always, I'm your host, Jalen Walker, and thank you for tuning in to Pound for Pound, episode 49. I'll see you guys. Thank you.